Hello, unfortunately, I've had to shelve the camera today because when I tried to use it with the camera again, it crashed. If anyone knows anything about screen power, I tried yesterday to try and think about a few solutions, but it didn't seem to work because it crashed again. So it's an ongoing issue I'm having. Maybe I need to get a more bumped up, souped up computer, but I can't afford it. So this is a problem. So today I want to talk about playing against James Howe, who was a very strong player back in the 1990s. However, he quit chess around about not long after I played him. I think he was already a GM by the time I played him. I remember being inspired by some of his games. I think he beat Nigel Povard in a very nice game very quickly with black in a four pawns attack, maybe, or maybe he lost to Nigel. I don't know. I can't remember exactly the result, but he wasn't. He was kind of a player that I kind of came into chess, when he was kind of leaving. So he would have probably played stuff like Lloyd's Bank and stuff like that, and I came along late. Obviously, the most famous Howe involved in English chess would be David Howe, no relation to James Howe, and there's also Chris Howe, again no relation to either of those two either, who's quite a well-known figure in chess, well, in English chess. But yeah, I was playing James Howe, and yeah, he was somebody who quit chess. So effectively, he got the GM title, decided, look, I'm not going to be able to get a normal life, job security, like financial security, if I carry on doing the chess. So he quit chess altogether. Very few people have quit chess altogether. Most people will have some investment in chess. So I heard a story that he would turn up at events after he quit, and just to see old friends and socialise, which is normal to do. Maybe to see someone like Natasha Reagan, maybe he was friends with Natasha, I don't know, people that he was friends with. And he would hide around a pillar, so he didn't want to, like, people spotting him and getting him sucked back into the chess again. There's a few people who have quit chess. I mean, Matthew Sadler, for example, who's a stronger player than James, he quit chess for several years. Well, he didn't quit chess, but he kind of stopped playing professionally. He decided that even though he was already rated well over 2600 and been a very strong player for many years, very strong GM, he was better off. It's quite a sad indictment of the state of chess in a way, the state of British chess, that he felt he was better off, financially speaking, getting a proper job. And I think as a chess player, you're used to living off bits and pieces, really. You're used to, it's something nice about having a normal job and getting a monthly wage that you don't get in the chess world. Bobby Fischer is probably the most famous example of somebody who was heavily invested in chess, full-time at chess. James was before he quit, I think. He was a full-time chess player. But Bobby Fischer was a full-time professional chess player, very famous chess player, who obviously got the world title in 1972, was obsessed with chess. Chess was his whole life. And he was still obsessed with chess after he stopped playing full-time. But he didn't play again for 20 odd years. He was a kind of like a mythical figure. Very interesting. So please leave your comments down below. Have you ever had a period where you've stopped playing chess, you got back into chess, or you wanted to stop playing chess? I often talk about quitting chess because I get fed up with my results. But this opening originated from a Bishop G5 Knight off, which I've had a lot of problems dealing with throughout my career. So already this position feels a bit ropey for black. And what I remember about this game was James managing to entomb my bishop on f8. So I was already a fairly decent player, 2260 by this point. But I was inexperienced. And possibly I should play maybe like Queen B6. Is that what I played? Or Queen D8, maybe attack the pawn. Feels like a queen move. I know my style. I probably made a queen move here, right? Yeah, no surprise. queen, like an active queen move, like a queen e3 I probably played. Yep. You read my mind. So why didn't I take the pawn here? Maybe I should have taken the pawn. I was probably afraid of the response knight f5. Understandably so. What would I have been? There's also rook d6. Does that do anything? Possibly not. But knight f5 does look slightly dangerous because after the move queen f6 or knight f6, there's knight d6 because the bishop's pinned from the queen. And again, if you take with the queen, you just take the rook. So the natural move is here, but the problem is they take a knight d5 and then forking the queen and king, and that's game over. And king d8 also doesn't look very appetizing because then they take. And there's a pin. So I've already kind of into a bad position here, really. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to have a look at the game with the computer and see if there's any improvements that I could have made. Rook c8. Yeah, I remember just feeling like strategically busted around about this point, which I was. Yeah, and again, I probably was expecting him just to take, which is maybe... But then rook c4, right? No, maybe I wasn't expecting him to take, because rook c4 does look like a decent response. Well, James went queen e2. I was like, what the hell's that? Probably. Desperately trying to make moves like knight a3 work, but they don't. Queen f4. I probably wouldn't have swapped queens because I would have been afraid about the endgame. Yeah, so he went rook d3. This already looks very bad for black, actually, because of the problem is strategically that bishop is entombed. And he's playing on that with queen f2. It's very standard practice. When your opponent has bad pieces, you exchange pieces, because the more pieces you exchange, the more that bishop is emphasized. If you end up in a situation where he's got knight and rook, or just knight against bishop, obviously you would have a huge advantage because that bishop would just... Effectively, I'm playing a piece down, right? I'm already playing a piece down. That bishop can't move without losing. So I'm strategically busted already. And the only thing that white needs to do is maintain control of the position. And I must have resigned here. Realising that bishop c4 was winning because of rook c4, knight d6. I remember a conversation later I had with John Naylor, who's a friend of mine, and he possibly played on the same team. I don't actually recall playing for this Croydon 8 and 59 team. And I don't know if anyone else ever played for this team or has any knowledge of this team. I think maybe there was a Tim Wall connection. Maybe there was a Chris Dunworth connection and they asked me to play for the team. I remember Chris Dunworth was obviously connected to Croydon at the time. Possibly also Tim Wall was living in that kind of neck of the woods at the time. Possibly there was a connection to Alexis Harakis or John Naylor. John Naylor, someone was telling me later, he was chatting to James, and he asked him about me because he knew I played James. It was after this game, and he said, I don't think Gormali's very good. But obviously he didn't know me very well, James, so that's an understandable reaction. But yeah, based on this game, you wouldn't think I was a very good player at all because I got completely outplayed. But he did play a very strong game. So let's have a look at the game. He was a very strong player, James. How do we look at the game? Let's try and do a requested computer analysis. Could take a while, right? If you leave me now, you take away the biggest part of me. Ooh, baby, please don't go. So the accuracy level was... Right, it's going down, it's changing. James Howard played with 94% accuracy. Not bad. Not amazing, but not bad. For a GM, it's probably about standard. I was quite poor though. I played with 89%. So let's see where my mistakes were. Quite early on in the game, I got about... Yeah, h6 looks wrong. I was thinking about e5, but after e5, knight e2, what is the solution? What is the solution to infection, like they say in that film 28 Days Later? If you leave me now. So a fascinating variation, which I may not have been aware of, was this. It still looks better for white, so maybe you just can't bust this whole line. G4 is a very annoying move for black to face in these kind of systems. It's very dangerous. I mean, G5 is very dangerous as well. Oh, maybe B4. Wow, this is an amazing solution. G5, castles. Just allow this. A whole piece. A whole piece. A whole piece, my friends. A whole piece. Yeah, I wouldn't have the imagination to see that now, let alone 20 odd years ago. Actually, I was probably a better player back then, to be honest, than I am now. But yeah, that's an amazing idea by the computer, that you just give up a whole piece. And this kind of stuff you need to play in the Bishop G5 Najdorf. But yeah, so basically I missed that, and then very quickly, after this I just got a very bad position. So really, it was around about. This is the problem when you face the Bishop G5 Najdorf, that it's often based on one or two moves. So anyway, thank you for watching this game. So James Howe, the Bobby Fischer of English chess, quit chess altogether. Maybe we could have a match. I could have a match, challenge him in that variation, and show my amazing improvement with B4 and castles, giving up a whole piece. Interesting idea. I might do that as a puzzle later on social media. Thank you for watching.